What we done started. Look at what we done started. This the people party. Peace and love, party people, in the place to be. It's Talib Kweli, the BKMC, the MCEO. This is the People's Party, the world's best podcast. And as always, and as usual, I have my lovely and talented and wonderful, thought-provoking co-host, Jasmine Lee, in the place to be. Give it up for Jasmine Lee. How you feeling, Jasmine Lee?
You know what? I'm feeling like I can sing today. So I'm like...
You're feeling like you can sing?
I never knew there was a...
So you feel like you can sing?
I feel like I can sing.
Okay.
I think I can.
We have somebody who more than feels like they can sing on the show today. We have actually on our show today one of music's most important artists of any genre, any era. You could certainly sense her musical DNA in the acts of today. She cites Shirley Murdoch, Chaka Khan, Anita Baker, Aretha Franklin as influences. She's absolutely earned the right to stand on the shoulders of those legends. Her vocal range is astounding. Her presence on stage and screen is regal. And this woman is about to make me start talking about auras on people's parties. She has true grace, even with dealing with incredible levels of difficulty that would cripple the average person. She is a Grammy award-winning singer, songwriter, producer, actress, and writer. She has blessed the world with 3 platinum-certified albums, an incredible run of records that included 95's Faith, 98's Keep the Faith, and 2000's Faithfully. You know what I'm talking about. She could have stopped right there. She would have been a straight-up legend right there, but she did not stop right there. After that, she dropped First Lady, A Faithful Christmas. You know I'm all about the Christmas albums.
Yes, you are.
Something About Faith, The King and I, an album created in collaboration with her late husband. Although she sold more than 20 million records worldwide, she is a very down-to-earth, beautiful spirit and soul. If you haven't heard her music, you've seen her on the big screen. She's made her film debut in Turn It Up and has appeared in The Fighting Temptations. And she is one of the people behind TV's R&B Divas, the TV show and the album. She is the 2009 African American Literary Award winner and New York Times best-selling author for a fantastic memoir. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking about Fizzy. We're talking about Faye. Faye Dunaway, the first lady, the R&B diva, the incomparable GOAT, the reigning queen of baby making music. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Faith Evans. Yeah.
Come on, baby making music.
Is that the walk?
Let me see you walk.
What's up, Faith? How you feeling?
What's up, Kweli?
Good to see you.
Man, it's better to see you.
It's been a long time. It's been far too long.
I know.
Yes, you and I did a record together on my album Beautiful Struggle. There's Jared Meyer in the house. I was on Raucous back in the days, and you know, we put out this record, and I was very proud of this album because working with an artist like you on this album, and Kendra Ross also helped out on this song. Shout out to Kendra Ross and Dave West. My wife at the time, DJ EQ, was your DJ back then, so we were hanging out and we were doing music together. And do you remember our first time we met? Because I really don't.
I don't remember the first time, but I know that I was already a fan of yours, and I was actually very, surprised, not to be like corny like that, but that you were a fan of mine, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know.
Because I was so underground at the time?
Well, not even that. You don't have to like my music, whoever you are,
right.
whether you're an artist or not. So I always, even still to this day, like, oh my God, you really, like, you might have sang a song that wasn't a single, and like, I love this record. It was, an album cut. And I'm like, oh my God, you really like know my music. Like, I thought that was so dope. So
see what I mean by
that's what made me really.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, oh my God, of course I'll do a record with you.
Okay, yeah.
I was already a fan. Like,
okay. Well, I was definitely a fan of yours at the time.
I could tell. So you let me know that.
Yes.
We're gonna drink to that.
Let's drink to that.
Cheers.
Faith brought us some. She brought us some champagne.
Clean.
That's why we drinking champagne.
Clean. Hey, long distance clean. You don't do that after you drink champagne. Very tacky. But anyway.
She does that after she... Oh.
We real niggas out here.
You know what she be doing out here in these streets.
Wait, me or Faith?
You. Both
what
of y'all.
What are we doing
Wait, hold
in
on.
these streets?
I don't do nothing in the streets.
Me neither. I'm
No,
a mother.
I'm talking about Belch's grapes.
Oh, yeah. I belch.
That wasn't a belch.
Oh, did you just belch?
I said, it was a You know what?
Listen, I fuck with you, Faith. Listen.
It went over his head. Like,
I get it now.
Talib is a little bit, he's a little bit too classy for us. It's cool. It's cool.
Oh my God.
So, I actually lived in Florida and New York the same amount of time. You were born in Florida, raised in New Jersey. Your mom, Helene Evans, was a singer, and your father was a white man, and he left soon after, before you were born, actually. Have you ever reconnected with him?
Well, I don't know if that's an actual fact that he left. I never met my father, but I do. Okay. My mom, and mind you, my mom was only 17 when I was born. So prior to that, she was already like this leader of this band that was not a school band, by the way. Like some white guys that play music, and she was like they used to do shows. She used to hitchhike. This is before I was born, so this is in her teenage years. Like, and this is in the 70s in the South. So she had to have been pretty ballsy.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And in that lane, well respected at what she was good at, you know? I don't remember those days, but obviously that's what cultivated my ballsiness.
Right.
And my musicality, you know? Although her career didn't take off, I used to go to my mom's house when I was a baby, when I was like a toddler, I should say, and just read through all her albums. And they were like varied like genres, you know? Everybody from the mamas to the Mamas and the Papas, Joan Baez, you know, Richie Valens, to Earth, Wind and Fire. Wow. And, you know, it wasn't just black music that she was into, which is obvious because my dad was obviously a white musician, but they played all types of music.
Right. Before Talib goes into his next question, my mother would be upset if I did not tell. When I told her that we were interviewing her, she said, "Please tell Faith that I love her new tattoo." So I'm telling you that my mom says she loves your new, the flower ones.
Oh, okay, that's on this side. Which I can't really hold. This is actually one of my new ones. The house I grew up in, Jersey.
Oh wow!
But the flowers are on this side.
Is that the house of Johnny May and Orville Kennedy?
Yes. 11 Grumman Avenue. They used to call us the Grumman Avenue crew.
Now, that was your grandmother and grandfather's house, and they were foster parents, right?
Well, they weren't my foster parents.
Right, but they raised like 150. They raised
a whole bunch of foster kids who I grew up with as my siblings. Family, my cousins, you know? And they adopted some of them. So those are my sisters and brothers, you know?
Yeah.
But we're all family, you know? To this day, there are people that live in the house with my grandmother that, you know, actually came into our family by way of the foster system.
Do you know the song "This Used to Be the Home of Johnny May" by Eddie Kendricks?
No.
It's one of my favorite songs.
Never heard it in my life.
I'm going to play it for you.
I probably would have touched on it if I did.
Yeah, I'm going to play it for you.
Wow.
It's about, I believe it's about his grandmother.
Wow.
That's what I believe. It's one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Never heard it.
Yeah, I'm going to play it for you before you leave.
You started singing early, at the age of 2. And early on, you blew everyone away at the Emmanuel Baptist Church Choir in Newark, singing "Let the Sunshine In" by Fifth Dimension at the age of 4, if I'm correct. Did you always know you had an amazing voice?
Okay, there are different facets to that answer to that question because, number one, the "Let the Sunshine In" that I sang was from the Flintstones.
From Bam Bam and Pebbles.
Yes, do you remember that? Okay, my favorite cartoons were the Flintstones and the Jetsons at that time. I remember when they did the show, and I guess it was supposed to be like Hollywood Bowl, you know? And they sang, "So let the sun shine in." So obviously I used to sing this at home, and somebody in my household convinced me to get up in front of the church and sing it. So that was my very first performance in church, was singing the Bam Bam and Pebbles version of it.
Wow.
Not the Fifth Dimension.
Right.
I sang them in high school, but yeah. I was always very shy. Like for a very long time. I still have that to a certain extent, but I mean, way after I even had a record deal, you know, I wasn't the, "Hey, look at me, I could sing," you know. I always had a gift though. I mean, and I never knew where that would take me. Like I learned how to read and write music way before I started writing songs. Like, you know, writing down, I took piano lessons and the only thing that stuck was the theory. However, I can't play piano. Like I can sit at a piano and figure out what's going on, but I'm not going to sit there and ding along with myself. Like, no, I don't have, you know, I don't sit still long enough for that. But I'm a great arranger. I know everything I want you to do. I know the notes you should play. Like,
and you did though, in your career, you were very good, in my opinion, and have been and continue to be very good at showcasing the gospel influence in you. How deep does the influence of gospel music go for you?
Well, that was my very first influence.
Okay.
I grew up in, when I did move to Jersey when I was 6 months old, I was in church.
Emmanuel Baptist.
All we could do was go to church, go to school. You know, if you don't got a job, you can't live here. If you ain't in school or got a job, you can't live here. But all my life, I was in church. So my very first musical influences were the Clark Sisters.
You
know, there was a time when for example, I was in a gospel group when I was a teenager. Not that I ever wanted to be in a group, but I did any and everything. I was in pageants. I sang at funerals, weddings, retirement. I did everything. And this gospel group that I was in, we had like an A and B side little record, vinyl. And the guy who recorded us had a studio in the Bronx. So I used to sneak out the house to go to his studio on the side because I started writing little songs and I used to get my ass whooped when I came back home. But I didn't know that was going to be a part of me already being a producer,
Right.
I didn't know I was going to be an artist. It was like, oh, this is fun. I'm good at this. Oh my God. Back to the gospel thing. Yeah, I grew up in gospel, but they always told me you can't sing secular music. One time that same guy wanted me to meet Teddy Riley, which I did. I had on I was like, I gotta dress up and wear my thing. Internet. Shout out to Teddy. I always asked him after I became an artist, do you remember this time when I met you when I had on this whole fur coat and like I didn't tell the guy I wanted me. He's like, you gotta come meet Teddy Riley. I'm like, okay. Like the same thing happened with Redman. Shout out to Redman and Rock Wilder and Eric Sermon, because when I was 9 months pregnant with my daughter China, definitely not thinking about a record deal. There was a song I wrote with like my daughter's father that I used to send him all my little songs I'm recording. They sent this shit to some manager that was a big manager. Like he was Mike Sonnenberg, probably the name. Okay. How I met my friend Nikki Gilbert. Shout out to Nikki Gilbert. He was managing Brownstone and this one and that one.
Nikki from Brownstone, right?
Yes. Right. Like she's one of my best friends. But I'm like, how did we ever meet? Like I wasn't anywhere in the industry at the time. But Red and them sent this song that I wrote to someone as if I was trying to be an artist, which I was not. You know what I'm saying?
Just fucking around.
I've always, that was my little hobby and thing that I was good at. So I did the gospel thing, I did that thing, but my grandparents wasn't having the secular thing. So it took me actually probably having a record deal and making money and being able to send them checks. And, you feel me?
Right.
For it to be accepted. Like,
right. Now, speaking of church and Redman.
That's how I met him.
He played drums at your church, right?
No, Red actually, Red's sister Rosalind and I went to high school together. Roz is one of my best friends to this day. Red and I actually I wouldn't say dated, but fake dated.
One of those
I was in the ninth
grade. You went together.
I was in the 9th grade. He was in the 12th grade. This is
that's my girl. I go with her.
Right. But pre him and Eric Sermon, connecting. But like that was my boy, but he actually is still like they still family. Like Red and Roz are actually China's godparents. we've always, like when I finally got into business, Red had already been signed with Eric. So he used to come check on me at all my sessions and stuff. But I met Red when he was a drummer at his mother's church.
Oh, at his mother's church.
That's the only reason my grandparents would allow him to
Hang
come
out.
to my house, because they
Right.
knew that his mom was in church and he was a nice guy. But, you know, he wasn't Redman. He was just Reggie.
Reggie.
Yeah.
Now, the story goes that Redman introduced you to Branson and you introduced Branson to Biggie.
Yes, that's a fact.
So for people who don't know who Branson is, because some of the
Branson.
people who watch the show might not know who Branson is, can you explain who Branson is and why that introduction was significant?
Well, Branson, his name is actually in a lot of records, but like you said, people don't really know what that means. Branson was like the, well, for us anyway, like the good weed supplier,
Yeah.
you know? Like he had the good
The
weed, the
plug.
snow. It was called the snow. It had the little white flakes, you know,
Yep.
and it was
And
in
the weed?
jars.
Like, yeah.
You know, it was like, you
Like
know,
White
it was
Widow,
like,
like crystals.
basically having a LA version
Haze.
of weed in New York, you
Yeah.
know.
Weed was way more legal.
And
back
he was also a
New
good.
York weed kind of sucks though.
That's
good
exactly
people.
right. But Branson's shit did not, and that was the whole point.
It didn't suck.
That's the whole point.
Right. That's
Because
why
most
I
New York
introduced
weed
Big to him.
Yeah, New York weed be real.
There
Reggie.
wasn't Aquel. You know about Aquels in Brooklyn? Okay. Well,
In Brooklyn, I know about the Pink Panther.
no.
And,
Aquels was a little spot. I got arrested in for the sake of Biggie one time. They ain't even have good weed.
Damn.
It was like some tie stick stuck together stuff. But
Yeah, Biggie was
Anyway.
rhyming about robbing the Jamaicans for all types of weed, and yeah, we related to the weed rhymes back then.
I have a quick story, and it's gonna sound really bad, but I too tried to rob a drug dealer once.
What?
Okay, so
come on,
it was
girl,
me and my
go
friend.
ahead.
It was me and my friend
Faith is
Alicia.
a terrible influence
I
on
got a
Jasmine. Who
story,
knew?
too.
Wait,
What?
it was it was me and my friend Alicia. I'm not gonna say her last name because she might be like an upstanding individual now.
Not Keith.
But so we went to this weed man. He was
Name
trying
rhymes
to
with knees.
he was trying to sell us weed, and it looks like Reggie. What you guys don't know, whoever doesn't smoke, Reggie is bap ass weed.
Right.
Bap ass weed is bad weed.
Reginald.
Poor
But she
Reggie
just-
Bush. His legacy is now known for being
Dogs
associated
and whack
with the
weed.
shitty weed. This is
But
terrible.
way before him, it was called Reggie.
No.
Yes, in my life it was.
Really? I thought it
I
was
don't-
called Reggie
I
because his
didn't
last
know
name
it
was
was-
Bush. Because it was like the Reggie.
No.
I don't know where it came from.
I
But-
don't know where it came from either, but we've
We
been
might have
called
to
it
go
Reggie.
into Urban Dictionary and find
Right.
out.
So he was giving us the whack weed. She's looking at it. We're trying to like negotiate the price and he's not buying it. So she snatches the weed and runs. So I run with her and this dude like chases us down the street. Thank God we're alive because I don't know. I wouldn't do that, in my today life, but we got away with it. So,
All right, what's your story?
Wait, did you say you robbed them though?
well, not rob with her money. We just took the weed and ran.
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah, we didn't have
You
guns
You
or
robbed them.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. I thought it was
That's
the whole
above board.
tussle that I missed.
Nah. I'm not that.
See, I missed the
hood.
exciting part.
Well, no, mine wasn't even exciting as that because I was just a driver, and this is in my teenage years. Like my homegirls I grew up with was robbing drug dealers in Jersey City, and I'm like, what? I had a car, we like 17. I'm like, y'all doing what? Like, what if they shoot
Yeah, I
y'all?
heard your nickname is New Jersey Drive.
Because of how I get you
New
there.
Jersey Drive.
I know how to get there. We're gonna take this way instead of that way.
Speaking of weed, one of the best stories
Why
of
is
my life
that your intro? Speaking of weed.
Speaking of
Speaking of
weed.
marijuana, is when I flew to Bermuda to meet you and I had weed on me and I got caught at the border with marijuana and I had to rap my way out of that situation. And then when I got to y'all was like, where the weed at? And I was like, yo, ain't y'all
I
happy to
actually
see
thought
me?
you threw it away. I was very happy you made it.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
And I actually knew that your weed wasn't gonna be with you, but I thought you had to throw it in the garbage.
I used to be, back in the day, very good at taking marijuana all over the place. I don't do that anymore, but I used to do it a lot. But
Delicious.
Alhamdulillah.
yes,
I did it the wrong way.
I got good at it because I got caught so much. And that was one of the times I got caught.
And what did you rap? What song?
Well, I got caught. It's terrible. I had it in my underwear. And I'm about to go through, you go through customs. and they had the dog, and the dog came up to me, and the
You
dog was
didn't
like,
think they was gonna smell
the
it?
dog, "Rah, rah, rah, rah." And they're like, the dog don't lie.
But your nuts is
You
sweaty.
shoulda had
It's gonna
sex first.
enhance the smell.
I was a
like,
very young man.
You
Faith.
should have had sex
I was a
first
very
and
young
then
man.
get there.
This was young Quali. I didn't
It's
know.
heat down
I'm
there.
telling you, I learned from this situation the hard way. Listen, kids.
Literally. He learned the hard way.
Quali did it, so you don't have to do it.
Christ. Jesucristo.
No, but that's what. So they was like, look, you got the weed.
I was just happy you made it. Let me say that.
I'm happy that you were happy that I made it.
We had some Reggie on waiting for
Right,
you.
and then that's what it was. They were like, "We got weed. What are you talking
we
about?"
got it was Reggie though.
And it was
That's why.
But I was coming from London, so that means I had some Reggie too.
Right, probably so.
So
'Cause
you almost
it's
got
never good
arrested
weed
for some
over there.
Reggie weed,
It's not
Talib?
good weed over
Listen,
there. You gotta have a
They
good
stripped me,
connect
Faye. Did
for
you know
that.
they stripped me naked?
They what?
They stripped me naked, and the weed popped out.
Wait.
You know what?
Wait.
I feel like he's exaggerating
I'm
right
not. This is
now.
a real
Where did
story.
it pop out
Okay,
of?
maybe I got
It
a
popped
little
out from where it was.
Oh, the ball
I got a
sack?
story that was a little safer than that. I was told you threw it in the trash, but they still smelled it on you. That's why they couldn't take you because you didn't have it on your
nah, I
person.
was in the
I don't know
ball
why
sack.
she told you that. That's not what happened.
Well, I don't know. Maybe someone else
But
told
you know
me
what?
that.
They
Maybe the the people at the I had my production guy was
doubt.
giving me stories
You're
like
right. No, what
who
happened was
knows?
it was late at night. It was late
all
at
I
night.
know is you made it.
I made it through. I rapped my way. I told him I was a
You
rapper.
didn't tell him a rap.
I did. I told him I
My
was a
name is
rapper.
Quali.
I
and
rapped
I'm
about
here to
whatever was in the
say-
room. I rapped my way out of that. That's not the only time I rapped my way out of that.
You said you were a rapper, or did you literally rap?
Both.
He said, "Yo, let me out." I'm
Both. They was like, you rap?
What rap did you say?
I freestyled about
Just
what's
to
in
get
the
by.
room.
Just to get by.
They don't know that song in the Caribbean. I'm not big in the Caribbean islands. I don't do well in the Caribbean.
wait.
I don't.
Okay.
We got to change that. I got to do better in the Caribbean.
I need a thing.
I do well in
I need a
cold
fork
places.
or something to
You
do.
gotta. I mean, I really wish I could have been there because I want to know the freestyle. And I just tried to freestyle and it didn't work out because only sometimes I can freestyle. Like that one time in Miami when I was good.
You were
Remember?
very good.
Yeah.
You probably can do
I can
this.
freestyle.
No, she was really good.
Yeah,
What
man.
happened? What?
It
What's
comes.
that?
It comes out sometimes.
Fuck is the deal?
Yeah. Yo, I fuck with you, Faith. We're friends now. When I come over, don't be like, who the fuck is this? Is this the makeup artist?
Come over where?
Oh, I'm not invited. Okay, just kidding.
Well, I don't invite nobody, but if we cool and you say, girl, what's up? I'm in town.
Let's go
Like,
to the
let me
dime.
know.
I might
only
run
have
into
like
you
a
somewhere.
few free hours to myself every day. Like my son is like
I feel
has
you.
been my main priority for the last.
Well, let's talk
years.
about that. Let's talk
Okay.
about that.
Not that my kids haven't been a
No, but-
priority, but,
but-
I
but-
mean in terms of my
But for the last
actual scheduling and me
Right.
being present as the artist that people will want. That's
Yeah.
not really
for the last few years, you've been like, I know you did the Mass Singer, but beyond that, you've been really focused on the school system
Yes.
and your son. Can you tell us more about that?
Well, yeah, for the last almost 3 years, I have gone through 3, I'll say lawsuits, but they call it due processes, with the school district because I chose to pull my Sunrider out of school. Like my Sunrider is on the autism spectrum, but there's so many little facets to navigating that and understanding what that means in terms of the funding and the this. I didn't really know for years, like, okay, and this is for people who understand and speak, like who have a child that gets an IEP or who is in special ed, so they say. But that IEP means individualized education plan. So I used to go there and think this is just a parent-teacher meeting. He's just in special ed, not knowing that they're getting all this money from the government. I'll just sign it, until I met someone that actually told me that's not really, you got to understand what it is. Don't just sign that shit, and had an advocate and someone that has been working with us, that actually cares about my son, and actually helps me navigate that shit. So it's different. And in this quarantine time, one thing I have done, which I am proud of, whether it was as popular as it could have been or not, I did some free symposiums, just giving education to parents and people with, who have to take care of kids or adults even on the spectrum. Like there's lanes of income, there's places you can call for support that give you financial support, but if you don't know about it, you don't know.
Right.
And I only learned because someone told me,
Right.
So yeah, that's really been my focus. The Masked Singer came along and it was in LA. It was a great bag, and they hit me in enough time for me to arrange things for someone to be at home to pick him up at a certain time, because that's really what I do. Like, all right, I have to be home at this time, and my days are 4 hours to myself a day. You know what I'm saying? So that doesn't give me time to be like, oh, I'm making an album or I'm working on,
Right.
But,
Well, we definitely
I
appreciate
have
your
to
time.
commit myself to, to that because I'm his number one advocate,
No doubt. We definitely appreciate your time.
Well, I'm not saying that like y'all should be lucky.
No, but we are.
But it did take me a couple of years to
Right.
actually do this.
We've been talking about this for a
But
minute.
thank you guys for actually reaching out all this time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the only reason I'm here today is because of you and because it's right up the block. I'm like, wait a minute, you didn't tell me that 2 years ago. If I knew it was around the corner, I could have been done it.
Well, no, definitely thank you to you. My brother has autism, and my stepmother, that's literally her job day in and day out. And he's like 19, 20 now. So definitely commend you because it's a lot to sacrifice. So back into... You signed with Bad Boy in 93. I thought I was a part of Bad Boy, but you were writing...
You were.
In my mind, you were writing and doing background for Mary J. Blige. What can you share with us about those early days? Like, what was the energy like in the Bad Boy camp?
Well, to correct you, I was never a background singer. When I met Puff, I had been working with Al B. Sure doing like demo, Al was paying me just to come and sing stuff and arrange things for him. I wasn't trying to be an artist, And then my daughter's father and his production crew, which included Vincent Herbert at the time, they were trying to get some songs on Usher's first album, which Puff was working on. And so I was there right to the studio. I was in the studio and they was like, Puff was calling all these people, I need a girl to come sing this. And they was like, oh, Mama could sing. That was my little nickname. But I was in the studio, in the lounge with my daughter. I wasn't there for anything creative, And when I went in the booth, I was like, excuse me, Mr. Puffy, can I fix this stuff? I knew I was gonna kill that shit. Like, I had my whole little, I've been listening to this song all day.
Mr.
Like,
Puffy.
he talking about you need some girl to, they're like, oh, she could sing. I wasn't going to be like, I could do it. But
Right.
they finally was like, oh, she could sing. I was like, you sure you want me to do it? So I'm about to hook this shit up.
Right.
Soon as I walked out the booth, Puff asked me about signing to his new label. You know what I'm saying? So that was kind of not so much a planned thing at all. You know what I mean?
Destiny.
I've heard you talk about the Country House.
In Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Yes.
I used to eat there all the time.
That's where me and Big and all of us used to go there all the time.
What was it that made you fall so deep in love so fast with Big?
Well, I think it was a mutual thing because there was a connection of, what many people don't know. You know Hurricane G.
Mm-hmm.
Hurricane
Absolutely.
G, back to the Red Man and Rosalind story. So one day, when I was just happened to be on my way to this photo shoot when I was about to sign the Bad Boy, I dropped my daughter China off at Redman's house, and Gloria, Hurricane G, was there. She was like, yo, you going to New York? Take me back to Brooklyn. She ended up riding with me to this
New Jersey Drive.
this photo shoot that I had with Puff and his new artist before I met Big. So I'm sure when Big saw me there and saw her who was already...
She was popping.
Right. Like, how you know her? But that's when Big asked me, could I drive them back to Brooklyn? Because she probably done already told them, oh yeah, I came with Faith. She gonna drop me off back in Brooklyn. And he's thinking like, he didn't know me. He's probably like, how the fuck you know her?
Right.
She's like, yeah, I'm here with Faith.
Right.
And I already knew Brooklyn streets because I used to go to churches in Brooklyn. My peoples used to play for Hezekiah Walker.
Best Die.
You know.
Your debut album, Faith, for me, is set a standard for R&B. As Soon As I Get Home is one of the greatest songs ever performed in R&B.
Wow.
I love that song. Used to Love Me was ubiquitous. It was everywhere in the Bad Boy era. It's instant classic.
Good word, ubiquitous.
You like that, right?
Yeah.
What was your goals and thoughts at the time?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you my goals. My thoughts were okay, you know, because like I just said, when Puff asked me, did I want to sign to his new label, I was just there with my daughter, taking her dad to the studio. I was already very proficient at, you know, being in a booth, producing myself. Nobody would ever hear these songs. That wasn't my goal. I was just like good at it since a teenager, you know? I'm sure that's part of why he immediately wanted to sign me, because he heard me going there like, hold on, sir, let me change this shit up. Let me add this. Like, I arranged it and did this. And immediately I started working on Mary's My Life, Usher's first album. But yeah, I that wasn't my goal. That's my thing. It wasn't my goal.
That's so interesting to me because it's similar with Big, right? Because he was not really trying to Puff was like, come and do this. That wasn't really his main goal to be an artist, right?
Well, it's similar but different because I was already very much, you know, into music. I just didn't know. There were times when I would go in to a nice hotel and see a lady singing good, and her tip jar was full at the piano. And at the time, my music teacher told me Luther started off, you know, singing jingles. I'm like, maybe that's what I could do. Maybe this what I could do. Like whatever it was to make money. I wasn't really focusing that on something that I was so great at. You know what I mean?
Right.
I was already very proficient at recording myself.
Right.
As a hobby.
Right.
Like I had a whole song on my voicemail thing on my little tape recorder. You know, when you had your
It's early technology.
I had I used to put my box by it and double it up, sing along with the.
I used to do the same thing.
To double and stack it, sing it along with that, play it back, stack it again. Like way before I wasn't thinking about a record deal.
Forward thinking.
This is just fun to me, like, and I'm good at it, like.
Now it's 1995, and you're on stage with Puff at the Source Awards.
Oh shit! My daughter just sent me that video. I want to play it for you. Go ahead.
Okay.
Talk about it.
Yeah.
Talk about
this
it.
This is the night that Suge gave that speech. He took shots at Bad Boy.
Yes.
That the media then turned into East Coast, West Coast after that. Can you describe what you were thinking that night? Was there any sense at that time how big that moment would become for hip hop?
Okay. That night, I actually rode to Madison Square Garden. I think that's where it was. In Un Rivera's Range Rover with Lil' Kim in the back seat. This is prior to me knowing about Big and Lil' Kim. You feel me? But she clearly knew about her and Big. But anyway, I remember being backstage going to go on, and I had heard the people saying he said something about Puff, but I didn't know about any of that. So when I went out and Puff said what he said, my eyes was like, I'm looking around in the audience. My daughter was like, why you look like that? I was like, bitch, because I didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Right.
I didn't know what Suge said meant anything to throw to anything. Like I didn't know any of that. So I was just happy to be there and still confused as to why there was a boo and a this and a that, you know. At the same night, I think Mary might have not spoken to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know what was going on.
There's a lot going on.
A lot going on.
Yeah.
You feel me? I'm a new artist. I don't know. But I definitely ain't know about all the wherewithals, should I say,
Good
that
word.
had preceded. Thank you. That had preceded that moment. You know what I'm saying? My daughter was like, why you? I was like, bitch, because I didn't know what was going on.
Right. I watched that on. For me, I was young. I watched it on TV. It was on Saturday Night Live came on, and then Showtime the Apollo came on a Saturday night, and I was about to go to sleep, and I didn't even know it was coming on. This is how I saw it back in the day, because I guess NBC had paid the source for, you know what I'm saying, placement, and I remember Showtime at the Apollo went off, and I was about to go to bed. It's like 2:00 in the morning on a Saturday, you know, and then they said, now the Source Awards. I said, what? And I saw that in 95, like, what the fuck is going on?
All right, so can you tell us about the night that you met Pac?
I kind of feel like I've already kind of covered that and talked about that enough. I have a biographical book that is out that is called Keep the Faith. If you want to buy this, it is very accurate of this time. I mean, it's no need to keep saying the same thing that was said, like, you know.
Well, let's talk about the book for a second. You've been in like high profile situations where all the spotlights are on you with icons of the culture. You have
purposely. That's, you know, I sit back. Okay, you finish.
No, go ahead.
I always sit back and giggle to myself, like, God, how did that happen when I'm such a, you know, laid back person? But yeah,
I mean,
you are accurate.
I think it's
true.
about. I think it's because you're about your. We were talking earlier. I think it's because you have this natural talent, but you've always been about your bread, always been about the hustle, and always been about like, I'm trying to network, I'm trying to make things happen, and you being a woman in this business, you being a beautiful woman in this business, I think you've been in situations that would make a lot of people fold. But you've been in high pressure, dramatic situations that have gotten like played out on the silver screen even.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, in your book, you talk about some of this stuff is traumatic stuff. And I feel like you have done a great job of speaking the truth about what you've gone through. And the love and the trauma and everything. But you've also, and when it comes to Tupac and Big, have protected their legacies as icons of the culture. And in cancel culture right now, we have a thing where people want to get canceled and people go back in the past and talk about everything. And I just want to ask you if it's hard for you to, because for everybody else it's entertainment, but for you it's abstract for us, but for you it's your real life. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? If it's been hard for you to...
some of it is not my real life.
Okay.
So you got to take that into account. I can't factor in something that ain't really real. Understood. How could that affect me? You know, I mean, if I was like pressed off of that, then they saying this and that ain't true. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, even if, like, what other people think of me is not my business. The people that know me and love me, they know me. So I don't really... I have never been one to feel like I need to explain things. Like, I never got to know Tupac. You know what I mean? And I know you didn't say that with any intent of, but that's obviously, you know what I mean? I don't know Tupac. All I knew was what Big told me. He said that's his nigga. Right. I was happy. I told Big I met Tupac. He wants me to do a song with him. If he said don't do it, guess what?
You wouldn't have done it.
I would have never done it. He didn't tell me that.
Right, and I know you spoke, like you said, in your perspective, this was Biggie's homeboy. You've talked about in other interviews, I think it was on Drink Champs, where you talked about the night that Pac was robbed and shot in New York, how upset Biggie was. And a lot of that, you know, there's a lot of speculation around that because that seems to be where a lot of the drama started with Pac thinking that Big and Puff and everybody in the room had something to do with it. But from your perspective, you know for a fact that they didn't have nothing to do with it because of your interactions with Big.
Yeah, that's been stated.
Yeah.
But I don't want to go back to talking about things that have also been talked about. But again, yeah, it's said. I mean, that's not going to change.
Understood.
Big did say that to me. He did, you know, I truly believe, and I know everybody around him knows that he was genuinely fucked up over that. Like, you know?
Yeah.
But then again, that has nothing to do with what happened after. That's a whole separate thing.
Word.
You know? Thank God I've been able to compartmentalize things throughout my life way before I was in the music business, you know? Like, that ain't got nothing to do with that. This nigga hating for that, da-da-da. I don't got nothing, like, you know? But either way, like, you know, it's just, I think it's just so, I mean, both of their losses are very unfortunate, but it's just, you know, so many stories that will never quite be told because people already made their assumptions and their, whatever they feel. So why the fuck would I ever have a reason to feel like I need to explain something to somebody about my little side of it? My side, I've had to deal with that. I mean, my real side. That ain't got nothing to do with nobody that ain't really had nothing to do with me. Like,
That's right.
So, I mean, no disrespect to you,
Not
but
at
it's
all.
like, bro, like I've made the mistake of actually speaking on those things, and it's like, why the fuck am I speaking on that shit? Like, neither one of them are here. I can't speak for this guy. I can't even speak for Big, but I know what I know.
Yeah.
But the story is not going to change, and people already have formed their opinions, which has shaped a lot of outcomes, a lot of different outcomes. But Big's murder is still unsolved.
That's right.
I'm sure Tupac's murder is still unsolved. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, why,
That's right. We recently lost DMX, and your song "I Miss You" with him gave me so much solace when I lost my grandmother. The things he was saying on that song made me think of my grandmother. So thank you for doing that. Singing "Amazing Grace" at the end of it was beautiful. What can you tell us about working with him on that record?
That was all his idea. He came to me, and I was so honored, He was like, the only person that could do this is you. I was like, okay.
Word.
I'll do it.
Word.
But I think I had done that remix for him before that. But, the song about his grandmother, he was very sincere, like, and I feel like, was that after Big's Eye?
I'm not sure. Yeah.
I think
so. It was.
I think so.
It was.
So, when X came to me, he was like, and I was like, I'm not like the sad song singer. He was like, no, but we already did a song together.
Right.
I want you to do this. I was like, okay.
Yeah. No, we missed DMX. we missed DMX.
He was so sincere. And it's a funny thing because when he was he came to do that show on the Bad Boy Tour, and I think there's a video that's going around with him praying, but it was supposed to be my night for prayer.
Oh, wow.
And I had walked into him in the hallway, and I was like, I'm about to go pray. Why don't you pray? Pray for us. Like, I made him do the prayer instead of me,
That's right. He was definitely a preacher.
Oh, my God. Yeah. He so was. He so was.
Yes, rest in peace. Okay, so now we're in 1998. So before I get into the question, 1998.
Wait, what year were we just? Are we going by years?
Well,
this is your life.
We going through. This is your life, Evans.
Can we roll up?
You can roll up. You can roll up. You can light up. All
Somebody
Listen.
else. That's you.
Okay, so Never Let Go is everywhere. All Night is amazing, and then soon, Love Like This takes over the clubs. The Fat Man Scoop version blows up to this day. It is still like a party starter.
Okay.
It's played in all clubs.
Hey,
Shit.
yeah.
Listen,
Okay.
all the good looking women sing along.
I got a story.
Why do you think this song has stood the test of time?
I did know that Love Like This was a hit when I was coming up with it. However, the Fat Man Scoop version, I was hearing it on the radio way before I knew that it was officially, like, I was hearing it and I had to call my lawyer, like, why am I hearing this fucking song with my song? That's my song.
That's my song.
That ain't my song.
Right. And why is this nigga like, who's fucking tonight? Who's fucking tonight? Who's fucking tonight? Oh, what?
And I all love and due respect.
Right.
Because back then maybe, people was thinking, I'm going to do this as a remix, but the shits wasn't the shits and right on the papers in the shits. You
Right,
feel me?
right. Paper, right.
And I was on my shits.
Right.
And when I heard it, and I was like, that's my whole song.
Yeah.
But, that has become certainly a great extension of the record.
Mm-hmm.
Like people in Europe, I remember my ex-husband said he went to San Tropez with Puff, and he was like, "Oh, I love them. What's that?" They thought we were a group.
A group.
Like, I love them. What's
Fat
their
Man
name?
Scoop and Faith Evans. So Fat Man
But
Scoop.
yeah, that's a different version of the song. It was a great extension. However, on paper, it wasn't initially.
Do you remember Rock
properly.
and Soul in New York City? A record shop, Rock and Soul.
It was
Rock
that
and
in
Soul,
the Village?
It was in
the 20s? No.
Near the it was down the street from Madison Square Garden. And the DJs at the time, Fat Man Scoop was on the radio, but he was in the clubs at the time. And at the time, this was around, I think 50 Cent was out around this time, right? So it was like the DJs was getting mixtape songs. They was putting their mixtape shit to vinyl and pressing up like 10, 15, 20, 30,000 copies of vinyl right under the radar, to whereas before you could get caught with the, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So Fat Man Scoop Crooklyn Clan, he was
Crooklyn
taking
Clan.
shit
That's
that
what
was
happened.
in the club.
What happened?
Right, he was taking shit in the
What
club,
happened?
and he was going to the studio and be like, "Yo, I'm gonna make a hype version of it,
And
and
then-
my verse on it." And that's what they was
Well,
doing. They
that's
was
what
they was
happened.
servicing the mom and pop record stores
And no shade.
under
Shout
the
out
under
to
the
Fat
radar.
Man Scoop. I
Wait,
love
did you?
him.
So you didn't get anything
I
from
don't-
that?
Do I? Would I? What, bitch? Who are you
Okay,
talking
all
to?
right, just making sure.
I said I called my lawyer.
Just making
as soon
sure.
As I heard it. But it had, I could do a class on all these things like that.
Anyway,
Yeah. Shout out to Fat Man Scoop.
anywho,
That definitely gave
Anywho.
that record a whole new life. But, initially I was like, what the fuck? Like, how he gonna just put it out? But
Right.
you just
that's what
explain
it
it
was.
again.
There was some underground DJ shit in New
Yeah.
York,
Right.
But then
But
a lot
it
there was,
charted.
that's
like-
exactly
But
right.
I mean,
There was so many
like what
records
you
like
back
that.
then thought was Sound Exchange, and then it gets traction.
That's right.
Or,
There was so many records
you
like that,
know,
but that one just
right.
kept going.
It killed.
right.
That one kept going.
Fat Man Scoop.
They
Crooklyn
thought we
Clan.
was the group.
Right.
Oh my god.
Now, you came out with Faithfully after that. I read that you cited Chicago, SOS Band, Ella Fitzgerald, Sarah Vaughan as influences. Is that correct?
Yes.
And it sounds like that. I can hear it. I love you. I can hear all those references, and I love you. You Gets No Love kept you in the clubs. Carl Thomas, as you rolling up that spliff, you rolling
Whatever. They know who I am. They know
the
what I
People's
do.
Party. Kendra Ross, who worked on that record with us that was on my album, she lived across the street from Benny Boom and Hakeem Green from Channel Live
Just spoke to Benny.
and Carl Thomas. And that's how I met him. I met Carl Thomas as my weed smoking buddy. And then one day we was just smoking blunts in the crib, watching videos around the corner from Un. And then when Un lived with Kedar Massenberg
Spoke to Un yesterday
and
too.
Daddy-O. And Carl Thomas, one day he was like, "Yeah, I'm tired." I said, "What you tired from?" He said, "I was in the studio late at night." And I was like, "You in the studio? What you do?" He was like, "I'm a singer. I'm an artist." I was like, "You an artist?"
know.
I was like, "You an artist?"
I
What
thought you just smoke weed.
What you mean? He was like, "I'm signed to Bad Boy." I was like,
he
"You."
had been an artist way before
was like, you
Bad
signed to
Boy.
Bad Boy?
He was an artist way
This
before
is just my
then.
friend I smoke weed with. And then
Jesus Christ.
He had that record out with Loon that Been Around the World.
But he had
Is he on that
The
record?
original or the remix?
Yes.
He's on that record on the remix.
I've been around.
That was out. He was like, "That's me
So
singing."
we've been playing. Hated.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Carl Thomas. Let's talk about Stressed Out with Tribe Called Quest. Because what's important about that record is that hip hop was not talking about mental health at all. And y'all was making a record about mental health. Tell me about making that song.
Damn, I ain't even thinking about it. Think about it in that way. Then all I know is I remember that night I went to the studio with my pajamas and slippers on.
was
No,
comfortable.
really. No, I was in Brooklyn and whoever called me like, they want you to come to the studio right now, Tribe Called Quest, da-da-da. And I literally had on my little Kris Jenner silk pajamas.
Kris Jenner.
I took
Shout out,
C's,
Kris.
Nino, Chico, and 5 of Junior Mafia rolled with me and my daughter to the studio to do that song. And that was the first time I ever saw D'Angelo. Before I, knew of a D'Angelo because
This
he
was
was
in the
playing
city.
on
This was
it.
at the
Whatever studio they, I feel like it might have been
on the 23rd. It was a battery.
what
Was it battery?
was it might have been, but it might have been shit. What was Jimi Hendrix shit?
Oh, Electric Lady.
It might
that's
have
what
been.
D'Angelo would be at.
It might have been
D'Angelo was
Electric Lady.
exclusive.
I feel like it
exclusive.
was there.
Just there, yeah.
I just went and did it. I mean, it wasn't no like, but I didn't know who D'Angelo was. But
Right.
after he came out, I'm like, that's the dude that was there playing the road smoking Newports. Like,
Right.
that was D'Angelo. Like, I was there in my pajamas. Like,
I met D'Angelo through Lance Rivera. Yeah, because D'Angelo was managed
Bro.
by Kedar Massenberg, who lived with
Listen, let me call right now.
Yeah.
Don't play with me.
That's
Just called me yesterday, and I told him I'm going to call him back.
Yeah, call
I'm
him.
going to call right now. Hold on. Lance. Hold on, Lance. Wait, I am calling you back for many reasons, but right now I am doing this podcast with Talib Kweli, and he is just talking about you, and I've said I need to call Lance.
That's my guy.
Hello.
What's up? What's up, An?
Oh, it's
Salute, bro.
FaceTime too.
How you feeling?
Hey, bro, I love everything you doing.
Oh, thank you, brother.
I'm a hardcore fan from the sidelines. I'm letting you
No doubt, I appreciate that. We over here telling
I'm just not in your comments and shit.
everybody knows what I be talking about. We over here telling old school Brooklyn stories.
Hey, man, that's a beautiful thing. Get it from her. Y'all, yo.
No doubt.
Not get it from her.
No doubt. We need to get you on here too.
Back, Talib. She be holding back.
Not she ain't been holding back so far.
All right, okay, all right.
Nah, he said he needs to get you on here though.
Word.
Hey, listen, we coming as a family. See, I want to come with the mob.
Okay.
I want one story at one time.
Let's do
I
it.
don't want all of the holes in it.
Let's do it. You got an open invitation.
Oh, hey, I appreciate that, brother.
Lance.
Hey, Faith.
Lance.
Call me back, please.
I'm gonna call you back, Lance.
Hey, Talib, man, listen, bro, I look forward to it.
Let's do it.
I'm definitely gonna come sit down with you because we got a lot to talk about.
Yes, indeed, brother. It's good to see you after all these years.
Hey, appreciate it. All right, Faith.
All right, Lance.
That was
call
dope,
you later.
That was dope.
I was gonna. I wanted him to. He's direct my biopic if I ever do one, because he
You
remembers
have to
shit.
do one.
No, he's the one that remembered the story of me memorizing. Okay, you probably don't know this, but there's a story that, and it's a fact. One time, Big called somebody, and I picked up the phone and pushed redial. You know the dun 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 dun. Why did I figure out the number from it? I was like, that's a 2.
That's a Sherlock Holmes girl right there. Are you
That's
serious?
a 7. That's a 9.
Oh
And
my
he was
God.
like, I never seen that shit in my life.
Oh, shit.
It's no way you can know the fucking
That's some beautiful
tones.
mind shit, Faith.
Listen,
Oh my God.
he told me that. I said, how you remember that?
Right.
He said, because I told him, you in trouble now.
Sherlock Holmes girl for
You in
sure.
trouble.
Sherlock Holmes girl.
Sherlock Holmes girl. I thought I was
I
one,
was
but
like,
you
no,
got
that's
it.
not a 3, that's a 6.
That's funny.
That star. What was it? Star 67
oh, shit.
or Star
Wow.
69?
Star 69?
Yeah.
You don't need no Star 69
Fuck
with
a
Faith around.
star 6 9.
Read out.
Oh, okay. Now, let's talk about First Lady for a second.
Ooh.
You left Bad Boy in 2005. I Don't Need It samples
did.
one of my favorite songs of all time, Jones Girls, Nights Over Egypt. I also sent, me and Mano got our song over that record.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Mano, Knife Wonder. How did you know it was time to leave Bad Boy at that time?
In all honesty, I think in my heart I felt like I wanted to leave Bad Boy after Big died.
Okay.
Just in general. But I didn't, I was still in a contract, and that, my heart can't say this, that. But it was around the time of my third album, I feel like after that, I found out that Puff was, gonna go away from Bad Boy. So even though I probably wanted to leave before that.
It's like Arista stuff.
Right. Like he sold the masters, and, I'm thinking I had just did this great Faithfully album that actually was probably my best album,
Right.
on
So
that
many hip
label.
hop references on that album too. Like it was,
Well, I mean, I had just really gotten focused about
Yeah.
like the whole thing about it, and I wasn't told that, you're about to leave the label. So I'm thinking I need to meet with Clive. Who do I need to meet with? LA and it just didn't feel right for me. So I actually went to Puff in his house and said, just please let me go, because I don't feel like you're really into my career right now. I don't know what you're into, but I don't think it's me. So,
and you did First Lady. At that point, you were already working with Pharrell Williams, right?
well, Pharrell worked on my Faithfully album.
Right.
But when I signed to Capitol, that was like, I had met with every head of black music in New York. They all seemed excited. But at the end of the day, obviously, they all were thinking of the Puff factor. So when I met with Capitol, they weren't really tripping off of that. So that's when I had to go to him like, bro, please don't try and intercept this. Like,
right.
let me go. Like, you're not really into me or whatever it
Right.
is. You know what I mean? Like, I need to do something else. So,
Pharrell had you singing like James Brown on my song with Pharrell.
Oh, your song.
On my song.
Right.
On Broken Glass. He was like,
Yes.
we had finished the song. He was like, I want Faith Evans on this song. And I'm thinking, oh, yeah, okay. We're going to have an R&B hook. All right. That wasn't my vision, but sure, Faith is dope. And he's like, I want her to do James Brown ad-libs.
Well, I think that was because on the Burning Up thing, my whole idea was about being Lynn Collins. Not James Brown, but the female version of him.
Right. So that's where he got it from. Because he was,
Yes.
and you on my record going, 1, 2, 3, come on.
Yes.
And all that type of shit.
Yes.
Yes.
That's Lynn Collins.
Thank you. Okay. Yes.
The female James
Shout out
Brown.
to Lynn Collins. Now, one of my favorite, if not my favorite Biggie songs is Everyday Struggle. And you redid that with the great Raekwon.
Raekwon, yes.
What made you choose Raekwon for that particular song?
Actually, I feel like around the time I was doing Everyday Struggle, like doing it on my independent album, Ray and I had connected on something else for him. And I really didn't have anybody in mind for that remake
Okay. You were just going to do
at the
it.
time.
Right.
But then when we did a record, and I'm like, damn, I feel like you might really be the one to do someone. I was going to just sing it,
Right.
Without a rapper.
His verse crazy.
But it just made sense. Like, and then he came in. I had a little, God be blessing me so much.
Amen.
But it was a little studio in Venice, and I walked by. I was living at a little house and paying mortgage on 3 houses, trying to find a new house to buy. And these people told me, if you come here, all you have to do is pay our utilities. And that was like $200 a month. So I had a whole free studio for a year and all I had to pay, So I was like, oh, it just happened to be when Raekwon wanted me to do a hook for him. He actually, I think, was he doing something for Nori and them?
Maybe.
I did a hook for them. I feel like Ray was doing something with Nori and them.
Okay.
Like he was over their
years?
little album I feel like that. I'm almost sure. Like I did a hook for like Capone and Noriega.
Okay.
And then I found out Ray was like stationed in LA, and I was like, come listen to these songs, and yeah, he got on it.
Yeah, man. He
But
bodied that.
Bodied it.
Yeah.
Yes. Even though that album wasn't, there's a lot of independent projects that, they don't really get the
Well, I feel like
But I'm not mad at something that's good. Like, if it's good, it's going to always be good.
I feel like you know the industry very well, and you have a good handle on what the parameters for independent work versus being on a major label like a Bad Boy or
I
Capital.
didn't until I did it. I didn't. Because actually, I did the independent thing thinking, oh, it goes right to you. But if nobody knows about it, then...
That's right.
How the fuck you gonna make money?
That's right. That's right. We don't have the marketing machine behind us. It's a different thing.
They doing one video, it's it. Like, they're gonna break even. Breakevenrecords.com. What happened?
Break even and we done.
Hold on.
The hook to Real Things, so powerful.
Great song. I love this song.
How
Not
did you...
Malik Pendleton. Security. Oh my God.
I was just about
We don't
to
know this
read it
record.
out.
Do I know it?
I don't know this record.
Oh my God.
I know your record.
It's a song. I did the record, nigga.
Well, yeah,
I know.
I know. Okay, then I do know
But
the
why
record.
do she know it? Because
We're at the People's
Oh
Party.
my
That's what we do
God.
here.
Stop it right now.
But how did you...
That's our shit.
You don't love it. You don't even know it.
I know the song.
Cut it out.
I got the lyrics
But
right here
listen,
written down.
Security,
I wish I
serenity,
could say
stability,
Stability, therapy,
therapy,
the memories,
the
the unity, the loyalty, honesty, the sanity.
You better read that
Familiar
script, my nigga.
predictability.
You better predict
You and me.
it. But you and the motherfucking duck. Don't talk about it. But I can't even talk about.
Wait, but you didn't even hear the question yet.
I heard your question.
I didn't finish it.
I have an answer before you did, but finish it.
All right. How did you apply the changes you were making in your life to the music?
Well, that song was written by Malik Pendleton, who actually was a pretty, popular producer in that time. Not as popular as he could have been, but he did some stuff on Mary's album. He's dope, And he wrote a song that I thought was good, So that wasn't something that I said, oh, I'm going to write this to apply to my life. I picked it because it made sense. Like, I need security,
Well, it's a good
stability.
It is.
It's, and listen,
doesn't?
as me as a lyricist, right? I pay attention to the lyrics, right? The lyric about the familiar predictability.
Familiarity. Familiarity. Say it.
Familiarity.
Familiarity.
Predictability. That I paused on that because I'm like, is that what I want in my life? No, that's not what I want in my life. But those are redeeming qualities in a partner. That I know you so well.
So are you saying you don't want to be familiar with
your
partner?
partner?
This is what I'm saying. I do want. I'm saying the predictability. That's the part I'm talking about.
You don't want your
talking to
partner to
me?
be predictable.
Right.
Okay.
Like
You wanna be
as an
surprised.
artist, I don't want to be predictable. As a human being, I don't want to be predictable.
But the song is about a relationship.
That's what I'm saying. When I put it in the context, because I'm not doing a lot of relationship songs, right? So when I put it in the context of relationship, I'm like, oh yeah, that's exactly what I want. And a partner,
Right.
yeah.
Well, it just made sense when he played it for me. So I didn't write it.
But it hit your soul.
It did.
It's a good song.
And I'm glad that, why does she know a song that was on not only an independent album, but so not a song
Faith.
that
It's the
anybody...
This is
People's
what we
Party,
do.
Miss
You
Evans.
don't even know the song.
how do you
Stop
think she
talking
know the
about
song? We
we.
shared
Tell
it
her
That's
don't
what
take
she
credit
do.
from me.
We
No,
shared
Don't
it
take
together.
the credit. Don't take the credit, Kweli.
Let me get
All
my
right.
credit.
Kweli.
All right, you got that.
We already know you know what's dope, but she got that credit, bruh.
You got that, Jazz.
Because I would never expect anybody to tell me about that. Shout out to Malik Pendleton.
Hey.
Shout out to Malik Pendleton.
You spoke about Mary.
He did a lot of dope Mary songs, though, by the way.
Okay.
Monday,
A
you
friend
went
of mine.
He did
So
the
he's ill with the lyrics. Those are ill lyrics.
Yeah.
Wednesday.
And lyrics and melodies.
We
but-
never worked together until then,
Okay.
though. But you taking credit for things that you
Hey,
haven't.
we already finished with that subject.
Okay, we gonna go on to the next.
Yo, I
What's
love
your next
Faith.
question, boo?
I watch R&B divas.
Oh my God! No, the fuck you did not.
I watched R&B Diva.
You fucking did not watch that. If you ain't watched no damn recent things, you ain't watched no damn R&B divas.
I love me some reality.
All right, so
He's a lie.
listen, I'm not a reality TV fan.
He's a
With that
lie.
stated, I think that the concept of R&B divas far exceeded what people expect from reality TV shows. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, but it wasn't on the right network.
Okay, that's fair. I think the album was good. Did you enjoy making the album?
We were Grammy nominated.
That's right. Too High for Love is that shit. That's a standout cut right there. Too High for Love. That shit is
Oh,
really
you
good.
like that song?
I do like
Oh,
that
he does listen to things that aren't really,
Absolutely.
in the stratosphere.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You're rapping on the King and I album, right? You said you felt like Big Spirit was in the studio with you when you recorded.
Totally was. And I'm not even like fake and deep like that, but when I totally felt that way.
No doubt.
Like I really in my heart felt like sometimes I was like, oh shit, I just felt a good vibe. Like that was a great thing to do, a great choice, like I was working in Snoop's studio way before I asked Snoop to get on the song. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Snoop is on that album twice, right?
He might be.
Yeah,
but
he
I was
sounds
recording in his studio way before I asked him to get on the album. He heard the beats and he was coming in here like, what you working on? I was like, some shit you about to get on.
Some shit, did Battle Cat produce A Little Romance?
Yes.
Battle Cat is amazing. You
He
sing.
also produced Faithfully on my
Battle Cat is
album.
amazing. Shout out to China once again. She's on the King and I album. Trying to Get By is dope. It reminds me of Get By. My favorite song on that though is that Jadakiss and Premiere.
Oh,
'Cause
my
I
God,
feel like
NYC.
that just feels right.
I just was watching the little BTS from that album when I was in the studio. And, like, he was
BTS is
like,
behind
yo,
the scenes for the
For those who don't know,
industry
not the Korean pop.
No.
group.
Oh, you know what? You are correct about this.
Yes.
It is called behind the scenes. Yes. And I was like, oh my God. Like I really was looking at it like, damn, I put this whole shit together. Like, and I don't have to do that on no praise, nothing. Cause actually the album didn't really sell wood.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's a fucking gem of creative thought.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I was looking like, damn, I told him what to do. Snoop was like, oh, now you arrange. I'm like, nigga, this is what I do.
Hey.
Like, I'm telling you, I think you should come in here and I want to create this way and make it feel like Big said this to you and you said that back to him. And
Big Snoop and Big with the Going Back to Cali was perfect. And the Jadakiss verse, it just and you rapping on it. It sounds great. One of the illest songs on there is "Loving You for Life." You got Lil' Kim on that song. And that's amazing for us as fans and people who've been watching it from afar. How did that song come about, working with Lil' Kim on that album?
Well, I definitely didn't think I wanted to do an album with me and Big without including her. It was really, the whole story was about, like, based on our love story, but that was a part of it. If I actually tried to get Charlie Baltimore on it, but I'm trying to build a whole, real like chromatic story, a chronological story, should I say? You know what I mean? But I wouldn't feel any other way. Like, she should be a part of it. Actually, even when there was a whole documentary that came out on Lifetime. And I kind of, at the end of it, like, felt away because that wasn't what was presented to me. And I didn't want it to be like, oh, it's like, oh, Kim, it's like some discrepancy thing. I'm telling them, like, they have their own love story with him. Why don't y'all tell that story?
Right.
Do a thing on her story with him. I'm not opposed to that. Like, the shit is real.
Right. I feel
you know what I'm saying?
I feel you. That's very...
But the way they built it, it was more like, it was opposition. And I'm like, I'm not off that right now. Like, so I felt like it was important to have Kim's story with him in that album because that was a part of my story with him.
Word. That's
whether or not it was received as it should have been, but that's what the intention was,
Right. No, that's real.
All right, so for those of you who watch the show but you don't know, I'm like obsessed with reality TV. I watch most things. So of course I watch Love and Hip Hop, and you were married to Stevie J. Can you tell us?
I still am.
Oh, you still? It says on the internet you guys divorced.
I was.
Okay, so the internet is wrong.
That nigga keep calling me the whole time I'm here. Like,
Stevie. Okay, so how is it like being married to Stevie J, and how do you deal with his reality persona? And also, I want to know, like, how is his reality persona different than y'all's everyday life? Because you seem to like kind of bring him down.
I don't deal with the reality persona.
Right.
I don't. I mean, I've known Stevie for years. We were actually clearly just friends. I mean, I was married most of my adult life. Let's be clear. I was only single when I divorced in whatever year that was, 2011, 2012, whatever, But prior to that, I was married for my whole adult life. And even through that time, Stevie and I were good friends. Like, he's been to my house with plenty of his women's sisters.
Women's.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's my homie. Like, he's crazy, whatever. Never saw him as that. So for us to get together, it was definitely not something I expected or planned on. When I started working on the King and I album is when we actually connected. So that has nothing to do with his reality life. Like, I didn't see him in that way. I actually used to be like, what are you doing on TV? Like, but it's not like I'm in his life or,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, friend, what are you doing?
Can we?
I never connected that part of him with
the person you knew.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, I think because of that part of you is why this interview has been one of the greatest interviews we've ever had.
Oh, for sure.
And as fans of you, because you know for a fact that what we out here selling is not just the music.
Of
People
course.
are invested in your personality.
Right.
And so I want my show to really focus on, that's why you were surprised a couple of times by the music questions. Like,
of course.
Because what our show is, we like.
Because of her.
Yes, because of Jazz. That's right. That's right. But we try to find a balance with asking what the fans want to know about your personality, and some of it bleeds into the personal life.
Of course.
But just make sure we focus on giving you your flowers. With you such an open book. A lot of the shit that we might even want to talk about, you just opened up.
Exactly.
And gave to us.
Because it's what it is.
That's right.
Finally, what is next for Fizzy Faye?
I have been for the last few years dealing with being a mother, navigating this whole world with a child on the autism spectrum and learning about the ways that they be getting you, you know? they get your money for your child and you don't know, like, just trying to be an advocate for not only my son, but a voice for, that's one thing that I am proud of that I've done over this pandemic. I did like 8 episodes of a free symposium for, people with, caring for people with special needs based on things that I've learned,
Right.
and I'm still learning, but it's a lot. It's a lot to it. It's a lot to it. And that is really what I've dedicated my life to. Like, I cut off my quote-unquote artist schedule, all of that. Like, I'm like, I can't go nowhere. I got to be here. I got to, go through what he has to go through. Like, my son is not in regular school, but the school district still gets money for him. So I have to sue them to get my money back that I pay out of pocket, Yeah, but a lot of people don't really even understand that lane of, not even people, but parents. If they're not like thinking that way, they're like, I can't pay a lawyer, but they're gonna pay your lawyer. You just gotta know to sue them. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot to this. So I really have dedicated my time more so to that than anything,
Well, we appreciate your time. You're such a queen. You're such an icon. We're such better people for the music that you put out in the world. The People's Party is proud to have Faith Evans with us. Thank you so much.